URC Power Rankings, folks. We've had 3 rounds of URC action now. The South African teams are certainly doing all right, aren't they? With only 1 loss, and I think that was South African team against South African team. But yeah, we'll go through some of the results and how the Power Rankings have spat the teams out. You guys can let us know your thoughts on how you'd be ranking them based on the current form of the sides. Bottom of the log, I've still got Zebre, and a few people have said, man, being a bit harsh on Zebre. And it's true. Zebre, although they are winless, they've certainly been way better value than the team they were last season. Trouble is, I carried forward, not all, but part of the data from last year. So Zebre have been in a big hole in terms of power rankings positioning. So, yeah, they're still last. They are one of only 3 teams who are winless, but I think on the log they're actually they got like 4 points because they got a few bonus points. So they lost away to Munster 21-5. It seems like a pretty ugly game, and they seem to have scored the best try of the game with a wee kick and regather. But yeah, still winless for Zebre, but still encouraging signs. Less encouraging is Connacht. Thus far, it's been a bit of a stinker the season thus far, like I said. So these guys are the only team on actually 0 points. Legit nothing. Not even a bonus point. They go down to the Bulls 28-14. They just seem to cough up ball, and the Bulls would punish them. They scored a couple of late tries when the Bulls had guys in the bin. But, yeah, there's no shame in losing away at Loftus. But Connacht, at the moment anyway, don't look quite the side they were last season. So still early days, but none from 3 is not a great record. And the Scarlets are the only other winless side, although they have had a draw. Scarlets are 0 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. They did get back within 3 points in their game against Benetton, because Benetton had a big lead. But yeah, Benetton were able to pull it away at the end. I think one of the tries from Benetton, Scarlets guys were not too happy with. Looked a wee bit forward, but yeah, it's another game where the Scarlets guys unfortunately couldn't get the win. So 34-23, they go down away in Italy. And then Cardiff, after an early season win, have dropped their last 2. I should say the power rankings are kind of all over the place at the start of the season, just because, you know, it only takes 1 win to take your record, or 1 loss from a really good record to a less than impressive one. But yeah, they're down 2 spots at Cardiff. They were 13-3 up against the Lions, but then the Lions forwards really seemed to just get on top. I mean, Cardiff did get a maul try of their own, but yeah, they conceded a maul try, a penalty try. So yeah, they end up finishing 31-18 losers at home in that one, Cardiff. So yeah, could have been a better result if they'd been able to kick on with that form that they started the game with, but not to be. Next row we have got Glasgow in 12th. A bit of up and down from them as well. Lose 1 week, win 1 week, and now back to losing. They played the Ospreys and lost 32 points to 17. They did get a couple of very late consolation tries to make the scoreboard look a little bit healthier, but ultimately, yeah, kind of a poor day at the office from the Glasgow boys. Dragons, man, I swear I'll update your logo. The more I say it, the more I delay it. But I did watch their game in full. Unlucky. 1 more penalty goes over for the Dragons, or if they're able to get that bobbling ball and score a try at the end of the game, they maybe win it, but the Sharks take it away from them. So the Dragons end up finishing 1 point losers, 20 points to 19 at home to the Sharks. The Sharks are a tough side, so again, there's no real shame in losing that one, but obviously at home, when they had the lead and they were 1 penalty away from making it a 2-score game, it's certainly one that they could have and perhaps should have won, but they didn't get it done. So down 3 spots at the Dragons. Edinburgh, I've also got down 4 spots. 10-point lead over the Stormers, who are still my son's favourite side. My son is home with me for school holidays at the moment, so yeah, we've just been sitting down and watching some highlights. He was a little bit concerned watching the highlights of the Stormers in the Edinburgh game that the Stormers might lose it, but no, he seemed pretty chuffed that the Stormers got it won, sadly for Edinburgh fans. But yeah, down 4 spots, 34-18. They end up losing that one, so not able to hang on. The trip to South Africa is going to be one of the true tests for all the European teams this season. So it'll be interesting what impact the European club competition, like the Champions Cup and Challenge Cup, have on the South African teams this season. But anyway, for Edinburgh, it's a loss. What can we say? Maybe to be expected. Munster, goodness gracious. Maybe the power rankings have been a bit generous. Well, Munster, ugly win over Zebre. 21 points to 5. And they had 21 points within about half an hour, Munster. All pretty close range jobbies, weren't they? Mauls or pick and goes. So not the most emphatic victory you'll ever see. Over an improved Zebre side. How that puts Munster up 6 points, 6 places on the power rankings. Goodness gracious. Like I said, it's just early days. You go from having a 0% win rate to a 33% win rate. It's kind of a big jump, isn't it? So, and remember, Munster, I think I had a bit of a boost on them from last season because I carried the data over. So Munster, yeah, man, not convincing at all, was it? But it's a win. So they're on the board. And we'll see how they go. Personally, I think that's got them a little bit high, but there we go. That's how it's kind of spat out. Top half, Ospreys are flying the flag for the Welsh teams at the moment, with the other three sides having losses. The Ospreys got that win that I mentioned, 32-17. Keelan Giles is just quick, isn't he? He's bloody lightning, that guy. Gets a couple of tries. So, it's a win, a loss, and a draw for the Ospreys. They are proper mixed bag, but I've still got them in the top half, so that's at least a bit pleasing. Benetton get their win. What was it? 34-23 over the Scarlets. So it's a 2-1 record for the Benetton guys. They are up 2 spots on the power rankings. I mean, the Rhino Smith offload for the Menoncello try at the end, proper thing of beauty as well. If you haven't seen the highlights, really worth going back to look at that one because it's proper nice stuff. So yeah, man, Benetton, like Zebre, even maybe more than Zebre, seems to be an improved side. But remember, just a week ago they played Leinster and got kind of brought back down to earth. So maybe the difficulty of the opponent and the home and away thing is certainly a factor. But we'll see how Benetton go for the rest of the season. Another one that's a little bit harsh, man. Ulster dropping like a stone, but again, they go from 100% to a 66% win rate with 1 loss. So that's just the way it works early on in the season, but still feels a bit harsh to drop them 4 spots after a home loss to Leinster. The fact that it's a home loss burns a little bit more. Leinster's a tough opponent, so no real shame in losing that one. But they finished within 7 points. 13 points to 20. Really rained a lot during that game. I watched the full thing. It was, pretty brutal one at times. But, 13 points to 20. If they'd got that one try through Sexton, is Aaron Sexton? If he's carrying the ball in the other hand, or if Ngatai doesn't quite get across, then maybe it's a different story for the Ulster guys. But as it stands, it is a home loss, so their 100% winning record is gone. And they're at 2-1, so down 4 spots, which, as I said, seems a bit tough, but early days. The Lions, the first of our South African teams, just outside the top row, they're doing all right on their tour of Europe. They go into Cardiff and get a 31-18 win. The Maul, man, the Maul was pretty impressive. The Lions team of old, when they were doing really well in Super Rugby, had a pretty wicked set piece. Wicked Maul, so it's pleasing to see that continue. But I mean, the try at the end for Horn, the effort on that one, just to be running when the game was already pretty much in the bag, maybe sums up the effort from those boys. So yeah, man, they're doing all right. The Lions at 2-1, 2 wins in Europe. Happy days. Number 4, I have got the Sharks. Remember, the Sharks have only played 2 games, but they are still at 100% from 2 games. They had to fight for that win over the Dragons away. It was far from convincing. Far from convincing. But the fact they can play far from their best game and still get a win maybe is encouraging. That's the kind of best I can say for the Sharks. Because, defensively pretty solid. They only conceded 1 try at a Maul, so there's certainly some bright sides. But, I wouldn't want to get carried away with the Sharks on that performance. But still, I also don't want to give them any grief, because it's a win, and the best sides are the ones that win despite the fact they don't play that well. The Stormers, another one of the 2-game sides, are also at 100% with that home win over Edinburgh 34-18. Who's this guy? Hartzenberg, man. Gets a double. He's got some wheels, that boy. Yeah, pretty tidy stuff. So the Stormers fans will go home happy despite the red card at the end, maybe being a bit of a spoiler. But they are 2 from 2, so up 1 spot, just like the Sharks. The Bulls, though, rounding out the South African teams, I've got in second. The Bulls managed to get a home win over Connacht, 28 points to 14. Aronson, man, the gas from that guy as well on turnover ball. He's pretty brutal. Berger seemed to have a pretty good game. Good to see Hussein back, although he does get a yellow card in that game with some head-on-head stuff. The Bulls haven't been 100% convincing, but I mean, yeah, they've gotten 3 wins from 3, and there's only 2 teams that can say that thus far, and the Bulls are one of them. Interestingly enough, the Bulls are actually down 1 spot in the power rankings. I had them 1 last week, but they've been overtaken by Leinster, because Leinster's away win at Ulster, I've kind of graded that as worth more than a home win over Connacht. That's just the way it's worked. So both those sides are 3 from 3. Leinster are up 2 spots. Ulster have been certainly one of the teams to beat or to watch after the first couple of rounds. So the fact that Leinster goes in there and gets an away win is pretty impressive. I think Ulster did the double over Leinster last season as well. So it had been a while in terms of the regular season stuff for Leinster to get the job done over Ulster. So yeah, there you go. That's the power rankings after 3 rounds. Like I said, there's a bit too much movement. I think Munster's been catapulted up the rankings a wee bit too much with an ugly home win. Zebre still being a little bit underrated, but that's a bit of a hangover from last season. The Stormers and the Sharks are still a game behind, so that affects things as well. And Ulster's drop is a bit too much for my likings. But anyway, there you go. You guys let us know your thoughts. And yeah, I'm going to go play with my boy for a bit because he's been hankering for some game time. So you guys take care. I'll talk to you again soon. See you later. Who's your favourite rugby team?
Stormers.